In this video, I want to take you through the thought process and some of the sort of techniques and ideas I use to take a project from my city, or should I say a course from my city, and then transfer it into Canvas. In the first instance, I decided I wasn't going to back up and export the entire course and take it across, but kind of rethink how I was going to lay it out in Canvas, keeping some of the best bits from the way that Moodle and my city works, but also using some of the sort of best bits of Canvas and some of the advantages that Canvas has over using Moodle. Just as a quick explanation to what I had on my city, this course combined 3 units: development drawing, mixed media, and design for virtual environments. And within that, I had assessment materials and tasks for the students to do. I had an introduction page, and then, as I say, the assessment tasks, which were all pretty text-based, and I had them all stored in a Word file, so there wasn't a lot of point in exporting these anyway. There was a project brief in there, and we've got this kind of linear list here of all the different, say, activities I was asking the students to do, some explanation about how that was going to go on, and then I had various tabs with support materials in. There's one to do with the sort of context of the project, and then the drawing and mixed media support material. So my thinking was that I would think about how I might set that up in Canvas. So in Canvas, first of all, I wanted to use 3 units. And so because in Canvas we've got all these individual units, which we call courses, the way around that is to take and pick one of the units that I want to use and then combine the learning resources for all 3 units just within that single course. So I'm going to pick and use the development drawing course that I've been attached to. So my thinking behind this is, if I go and have a little look at the modules to start with, that I wanted to create assessment materials, okay, which are a reflection of the materials in here, and I was going to create them as assignments that the student has to do. And then I was going to very simply create the context support material in one module, mixed media support material in another module, and then finally there's going to be material on the 3D modeling. So then I had to think about how I wanted to kind of create the navigation, and what I've decided to do is strip out the template that comes with each unit and set up and create my own front page, front end. So in there I've put the introduction I had on my city. I've then put the brief for the students in there and a submission checklist, all on that front page. So there's a lot of important information already on that front page, but then start to think about how they were going to navigate around first the assignments and then the context and support material that was in there. And I've created this kind of tile structure on the front here, which I'm going to show you how I built this in a minute. So for example, now if I click into the task, there's the assessment task. This also, the way I've set it up, allows me to use the next and previous buttons, okay, but I can also jump back to the home and, as you say, go through the next task or to the next task. So I'm now starting to use that linear progression within the canvas, but at the same time I've got full navigation going on from my front page And then I can jump into my context, and now I've started to put in this kind of support materials and links to the support materials, links to PowerPoint presentations that are going to be part of the the learning experience for the students. So this was to say how I was thinking about building and using my city. So next, what I'm going to do is take you through how I actually went about creating this. So I'm now going to go ahead and start building and creating my course. So I'm going to pick a course to use as the sort of parent. Now then, we've got the template in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out and set up, first of all, my modules. And to do that, I want to clear out the modules that exist or have been put in there already, because I'm not going to be using these. So there's an option to delete the module. So I'm going to quickly do that. I think I may need to keep one which I can edit in a minute, but I don't think it allows me to remove all of them. So I'm just going to keep that one, and I'll change the name of that in a second, but I'm going to change the name of that right now, which is quite easy. And I'm going to call this the brief. And update that. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and check and see that I've also got a lot of pages, because all it's done is cleared the modules out. It hasn't actually deleted any of the pages yet. It does this annoying thing. Whenever you click on pages, it goes to the home page. I'll talk about home pages and setting home pages in a minute, but for now I just want to go in and clear out all the pages that I don't need, which I have to do individually, unfortunately. I'll leave that home page for the time being and come back to that, because it probably won't let me delete that. So I've deleted all of those for now. There's also some assignments in here that have been put in, which again I'm going to delete those for now. So I'm effectively just simplifying everything. It probably won't let me delete that. So I've deleted all of those for now. There's also some assignments in here that have been put in, which again I'm going to delete those for now. So I'm effectively just simplifying everything. Okay, I'm going to leave one in there because I'm going to need to put my assignment somewhere, so that has to stay there. So back into my modules. Okay, so I've got nothing in there now. I could have deleted that other one. So first of all, I'm going to create my initial home page. So to create pages, you've got the option here, gives you the option create page, and quickly give it a name. So there's my first page ready to go. I'm now going to start adding some more modules to this. So I want a module with my and in there I'm now going to start adding assignments. I'm just going to add one for now just to get things moving, and this one can be task 1, create and I'll add that, and then while I'm at it I'll add the context. I'll add that and I'll add a page to that. Okay, that'll do for now. That'll get me up and running with what I want to show you. So we've got a page where we're going to put all of our homepage information in, and then we've got our first assignment set up, and here's some of our support material. If I go to home now, you'll see that this is still here, so I've got to kind of deal with that and get rid of that. Okay, and come and work my way back through that. So because I've still got the home page set up there. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and start adding some content to this, because this is going to be my new home page, which will then allow me to delete the old home page and reset it. So I'm going to go in and now edit and start adding some detail to this to start with. So I've got a picture at the top, and so I'm going to load up a picture which I've got on file, which you just drag that into the there, and I'm going to submit that. And then I'm going to just start adding some text to this very quickly that I've got saved. So very quickly I'm going to go and add some text in here, give that a title, and then I'm going to copy and paste some text. You can have it saved on Word, although the spacing in Word isn't perfect. You have to do a little bit of readjustment, but I'm going to quickly copy some text into here for this. Okay, so there's my text all set up. And then what I'm going to do is set up that tile navigation that I had. So down here, I'm going to put my tile navigation in. So and to do that, I'm going to use a table, and I'm going to use single rows because for accessibility and screen reading, tables are better if you just put them in single rows. So I'm going to start by just creating the table, which is going to need 3 slots in it. And then I'm going to load up the images, which again I've got saved already. put the first row in. Okay, so that's those in. Now then we need to edit our table and sort out the table, because it's got a border around it to start with. So I can go into the table properties up here and first of all just get rid of that border. And also I'm going to set it at I think about 80% width, which is going to close in all the gaps around it, which it has. That's done that nicely. I created a border inside the image so I don't have to muck around anymore with the table. So that in theory should be done. So yeah, so there's my tiles ready to go. And then I had a second layout which I'm going to quickly put in, just to, so I'm going to return down, and below I'm going to put in my second set of images in exactly the same way. Help if I did it correctly. There we go. You probably should be putting for accessibility, for screen reading, etc., alternative text on here. I'm just doing this quickly, so I'm not putting that in just now. Only final image, and then the same again. I can just go in and deal with that table properties, get rid of the border, and I'm going to space it out at 80. So there's my menu all set up. So that's effectively my home page all set up and ready to go. So now I'm going to start creating an assignment. So I can go back to my modules, and I've already set up a placeholder for that. And I'm just going to go and grab some text for that very quickly. Some text I've already got set up, and edit that, and then show you how to set that up. So I'm going to quickly grab some text for this. And edit. And pop the text in there. And then I'm going to add a few of these options. I'm only going to display the grade as complete or incomplete, which is most of our HN units are. And then in there I've asked the students to submit their work to a website, so supplying that URL. That's basically what they have to supply as part of the assessment, to a link to where all their work is. You can obviously set up other things, you know, the due dates and all this sort of thing. I'm not going to deal with that just now. Okay, so they're the critical ones where you want them to actually submit. You can obviously have text if you want them to fill in and submit text on to Canvas itself, or get them to upload files, but I'm saying I'm getting them to submit a URL in this particular instance. So I'm going to save that. So that's all set up now. And then really it's now just a case of finishing off. I would finish off now, starting to build the rest of my content. So let's go and add some content to this particular page. So again, I've got an image that I've placed in there. And I've also got some text for that. Which I'm going to paste into there, and then I'm going to save that. Oops, I must have pasted two images in there at the same time. We can certainly sort that out. I must have an image in there already. Let's get rid of one of those. It's easy enough to solve. Okay, save that. So you'll see in here that there are lots and lots of links to different things. There's a link to a PowerPoint presentation, and there's external links and external URLs on there. So I want to talk a little bit about linking and how that kind of works, but I want to tie that into how we're going to use that front page to navigate between the content. So that'll help us have a little look at the process of linking up documents and different types of documents, and then also thinking about different types of files that we may have import and use as well as we go along. So I'm going to nip back to the home page. Now then, let's resolve this little problem here now, because at the moment it's still linking to that original page. So what we can do is we can first of all go into our pages, and what we're going to do is we're going to start again. What we're going to do is remove as front page. I'm going to stick the we published on there. It doesn't actually make much difference whether they are or aren't when you're building. And I'm going to use that as the front page, and I'm now going to delete that because I don't want it anymore. Now that's not everything, that's not completely solved now, because you'll notice when I go to home that the modules appear, which is what we don't want. What we want to do is choose home page, and we want to make sure that we use our cybernetic drawing project as our front page. So now, hopefully, when we click on home and when the student's navigating and clicks on home, they will always come back to this page. So now back to this issue of how we start to create out some linking to various information that we have and want to be able to navigate to. So again, I'm going to go back and edit this. And I've really only got one set up at the moment. So I'm going to put a link on that image to start with. And in here, I've got external links, but I want course links. And this will now brings up the content of our course. So in here, we've got assignments, and the task one is that. That's resolved. So I can save that. So that link now should link through to the first task, which it does. Then I can return to the home. You will also notice, or I mentioned, that inside some of this content, in this one that I've got at the moment a link to a PowerPoint presentation. I'm just going to edit and remove that and then go and show you how I did that and what I'm doing there. So I'm going to remove that to start with. Okay, and save that. And now what I want to do is go and upload a PowerPoint presentation. So once I'm inside the files, I can upload any media I want, and in this example we're uploading a PowerPoint presentation. So I can now go back, and I'm going to do two things here. I'm going to put that PowerPoint presentation inside the module, so if the student was navigating through using the modules for navigating, it would be available, but I'm also going to create it as part of the overall part of this page, so there's two ways that they can get at that bit of information. So from here I can link to add a file to there, and there it is. So first of all I'm going to add that, so that's sitting there as one way of accessing that. But in here I'm also going to add it as an option here as well. Help if I was in the editing part of the course. So here I'm going to go up and I'm going to drop down. I'm going to go to course links, and this time I'm going to drop that down to files, and it's either my files or course files. It's inside course files, and there it is. So that link's now on there. So now they can access it in two places. If the student was working through the modules, they could access it, or they can access it from the page. So finally what I'm going to set up is a way that the student can gauge their progress through what they've done and what they haven't done on the course, and we can do this here. So in here there is an option to edit, and you can add requirements to the module, and there are a number of requirements. You could have, for example, a requirement which we're going to put onto the context material to make sure they viewed it, but in this particular one a tick will appear in their as of when they've submitted the assignment, so we can track progress, which I think is very, very useful. So the student must complete all of these requirements, submit assignment, and that's now set up. And then you can then, if you wanted to, add a requirement here that the student just views the items within there, and then you'll know whether the item's been at least visited. Less useful, to be perfectly honest. So that's now set up. So as I say, the student knows, and you know when you're going through and looking at the grading or student progress, which is some of the great things that are in Canvas, to see how an individual, say student's getting on. So that's that all set up and ready to go. So all I would really need to do now to get it to the state of my finished example here is carry on adding the rest of the tasks and the rest of the content. So I hope that's been useful.